So as anticipated, the stock market is crashing, guys. The stock market crash is officially here. Within this video, I'm going to give you an updated technical analysis on where I see SPY heading into next week. This is going to give you a much better understanding on the price action, when to be long biased and when to be short biased. So as mentioned in my previous series on the stock market crash, which began releasing right here on this date on September 1st, I had prepared myself and everyone for a trading plan to potentially capitalize on a stock market crash, as it has been proven for September to be the worst month of the stock market crash. And if you go back to September 2nd of 2020, that at the time was the all-time high for SPY, where it went to $358. And then for almost an entire month, it was nothing but downside. It crashed all the way to 320. It dropped over 10%. And as you can see, history is currently repeating itself. The all-time high is currently on September 2nd. And this has so much more downside potential left. We're talking potentially the low 430s is what we're talking, guys, in terms of history repeating itself. And in terms of its bottoming and dip buying opportunity, it's going to be, in my opinion, towards end of September, around like September 24th. So there's going to be a great opportunity to dip buy as the market is consistently reaching for new all-time highs for the longer term, for the midterm, for the macro trend. But in terms of the micro price action, it is extremely bearish. And we were 100% prepared for this market crash. You know, as I had mentioned in my series, which began on September 1st, go back and watch the videos. This is where the trading plan began right here. I prepared myself and everyone to potentially capitalize on this market crash, and I ended up buying SPY put options. When I bought these, I was 5 points out of the money. And I bought these on September 2nd, the day SPY had its all-time high. Ever since then, for the most part, it's been nothing but downhill, and it's really starting to get crushed. But as you can see in terms of the contracts, they're finally starting to print up 117% profit return. 30 contracts at an average cost of $271, currently worth $5.90. At first, even though SPY was slightly dropping, these contracts did not print because I went, further out of the money. It's going to take time. Once they become in the money and SPY starts crashing, that's when they're really going to start to print. Also, due to the lack of volatility in SPY, the minor, sideways price action in SPY and implied volatility in theta decay, they weren't printing at first. But I stuck to my guns, and like I said, this is a midterm swing. That is why I went with the September 20th contracts. Because in terms of SPY, if you go back and watch my analysis within these videos, I had clearly stated I'm expecting a short-term crash and a midterm crash, and I think it's going to really get crushed in terms of, September 2nd up until the end of the month, right? So that's why I went with the September 20th expiration, because I wanted to take full advantage of a potential micro crash and also a macro crash. But the cool thing is about going with more of like a macro contract with some time on it, you don't have to be right in the beginning. So let's get into my updated analysis on SPY. So guys, we literally got in on the all-time high. Like, we timed this perfectly. How is that possible? Because I'm using a strategy that revolves around history. And when I see those confirmations that history is going to repeat itself, I put myself into the position, and the odds are in my favor. And the win rate, if you've been following this channel, it's over 80% now. And as you can see in terms of, the history, what I was looking at is, SPY pushing for new all-time highs, had this really nice rally, and then ever since September 2nd hit, nothing but huge downside potential, 10% crash, and then it bottomed at September 24th. So what I'm telling you is the buying opportunity, wait till the end of the month, and then that's when we're going to buy and swing this back up on the call side. But in terms of now, there's so much more downside potential in my opinion. This went from, last year, this went from 358 all the way down to $319, and SPY is even more overextended now for the short term, definitely due for that correction. And these candlesticks are not looking good. Whenever SPY forms this candle right here, this def candle right here at key resistance, and then this red bearish candlestick, it tends to get absolutely crushed. So this is going to be your key level in terms of next week for bulls. Things are going to get extremely ugly. This gap right here, there's a gap that has officially filled at $446.26, where this red line is. If that remains a resistance level, this is going to get absolutely crushed next week. We're talking 440, and then in towards, end of September, we're talking 430s, right? So this is your key level. In terms of bulls, in terms of bullish micro price action, you have to see 446.26 turn into support. If SPY fails to turn that into support, and as of now, it is currently failing to turn that into support, as you could see, it is actually forming lower highs under that level of 446, down in after hours, not looking good. So in terms of that, where will SPY be heading into, next week? It's going to be heading right around here towards $440. So in terms of a bear zone, if 446 turns into resistance, we'll be on track for a price target of $440. Now, if SPY were to turn 446 into a support level, we would be on track to push back up towards 450. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on it. And that is the key level, guys. It is as simple as that. Obviously, there's more to this in terms of price action in between. But in a nutshell, if this cracks through this red line, which it currently is, it's going to bounce back up at some point. And if the high of that bounce, if the resistance level is at or lower than that 446.26, we're going to be on track into, later next week to crash to 440. Now, if bulls can push back up and turn that 446 into a key support level, then we'll be on track to spike into the 450. Me personally, this is the confirmation that history is officially repeating itself, and I think there's a lot more downside potential left for SPY. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm going to continue to hold the put options. Let me know what you guys think of this video. And in terms of SPRT, guys, like I said, sell the news. Look at it. It's down over 19% today. People really need to understand that you cannot be chasing these stocks. You really think it's that easy to buy right before the news and then flip it for a quick profit? There's nothing in your control. The odds are not even in your favor. Even if the news is positive, it can still crash easily. So yeah, we swing traded this and we also day traded this perfectly. I am 4 for 4 day in swing trading this. 100% accuracy trading this stock, short and long. Go back and watch the series on SPRT. We had everybody prepared, for this opportunity in terms of that last day trade to get a nice scalp in. And then we also had people prepared to sell the news. And it's a good thing we did because it's down over 19%. We're not playing a game of chance on these guys. We're using a proven gap close reversal to fill the gap above strategy. So go back, get a better understanding of how these strategies work. Watch this series on SPRT. And of course, watch the series on, SPY. That was literally the first time I talked about SPY within the entire last year of all of my content, of all my videos. And we literally timed the exact crash perfectly. How is that possible? Because we're putting ourselves where the odds are in our favor. We're using a system, we're using a strategy where history is repeating itself once we get those confirmations. So go back and watch the series, guys, because we were prepared to capitalize on this market crash the same way we're going to be prepared to buy the dip towards, the end of September, ideally in the 430 range. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on that position.